Hey everybody, it's Chrissy. I just wanted to do a quick video to share a few tips for choosing a domain name. So I've got 7 recommendations that I'm going to go through. And let's see, the first one is do some research. So when you're thinking about what you're going to have for your domain name, obviously you're probably going to start with the name of your business or your blog or whatever it is that you're working with. But before you do that, I want you to Google it. I want you to go to Google, go to Bing, whatever your favorite search engine is, and see what happens when you search for it. If a whole bunch of stuff already comes up, then it may not be the best domain name to use. Another thing that you might want to do is go to the US trademark and patent search and see if there's anything already registered using the name that you're trying to choose. So you probably already did that when you were researching your business name or your blog name or whatever it is that you're trying to build a website for, but do that also for the domain name. The next one is to use .com. I know a lot of people can't find the .com. A lot of .coms are already taken. So some people will instead register the .biz or the .co or whatever extension you want to register. Just be careful doing that because there's a very good chance that people are used to typing in .com at the end of a domain name. So if, like, for example, I'm using pongos.com, somebody decides that they want to create a company called Pongos Does Stuff, just for an example. And so they can't register pongos.com because I've already taken that. Instead, they register pongos.co. Well, chances are people are going to go to the pongos.com website anyway. So if you register some other extension, then there's a really good chance that people are going to go to your competitor's website instead of yours. So you do want to try to register the .com anytime that you can. Now, I also do recommend registering the .net, .org, .co, .biz, whatever other extensions you want to register, but at least make sure that you register the .com. If you can't find the .com for the name that you want, then you might need to play around with the name, or you might need to add some things to the name. So, for example, if somebody was trying to come up with a coffee house in Crofton, they might do Crofton Coffee, and they can't find CroftonCoffee.com, then they might register CroftonCoffeeMD.com to differentiate between Crofton Coffee and CroftonCoffee.com. So my next recommendation is to keep it short. So I don't have like a set number to register, but you do want to try to keep it short. People have to type in the domain name. So if you have something like Crofton House of Coffee Experiences.com, there's a really good chance that people aren't going to type all that in. They might Google it or they might search for it on a search engine, but they may not register or they may not type that entire domain name in to go to your website. Recommendation number 4, make it easy to say and spell. So you do want to make it so that if it's something that's easy to misspell, you might want to consider a different name. You want it to be easy to say as well, because there's a really good chance that you're going to be telling people the domain name, and they might be typing it in over the phone, or they might be typing it in after you tell it to them at a networking meeting or something like that. So my example earlier, I was having a hard time saying Crofton Coffee. That's just me, but Crofton Coffee, if it's hard to say, hard to spell, then you might want to rethink using that domain name. Try to pick something that's going to be easier to say or spell. Recommendation number 5 is to avoid hyphens. If CroftonCoffee.com is taken, Crofton-coffee.com, you shouldn't register that, because most likely people are not going to type in that hyphen. They're going to type in the name without the hyphen. So I wouldn't recommend registering the name with the hyphen. Plus, they tend to be a little bit awkward when they're printed out or when they're typed in. Typing a hyphen is a little bit harder than typing without the hyphen. So I recommend avoiding hyphens when you can. Number 6, register more than you need. If you think of a great domain name, register it, but think of some variations that you might use. So for example, my name is Chrissy Ray. But I might want to register my real name, which is Suzanne Ray. So I don't know what I might need to use when I actually build the website. So I might register more than one domain name. So if you think of a bunch of great domain names, register them. I will admit that I have over 80 domain names. Granted, I do have pongos.com, pongoslearninglab.com, and a bunch of other websites, but I registered more than I needed to use because I don't know. I might come up with a use for some of the domain names that I've registered. They're not very expensive either, so it's okay. Recommendation number 7. This is our last recommendation. Get some feedback. So ask your friends, ask your family, ask potential customers what they think of the domain name. That's your friends and family are really good to give feedback, but your potential customers are the best people to ask for feedback. So find out what they think of the domain name, see if they think it's going to work. You also want to get feedback because you might have factors that you didn't think of. When you're thinking of the domain name, you might not realize that what you used for your initials or something like that might spell a bad word or might give a bad connotation. So ask people for some feedback on the domain name. So I hope you found this useful, and come back for some more content. We're going to talk about some more tips for getting your business online. So we'll see you soon.